We didn't do that for a while. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Village. Do you need a couple minutes, Chris, to get it going? Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for July 7, 2020. I call this meeting to order, and again, ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Carbonaro?
Here.
DEYNE?
Yes.
Cabrera?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Ranke?
Present.
President Wallace?
Here. First item we have on our agenda this evening for the Committee of the Whole meeting for discussion is Building and Zoning. Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that's the Brewster Creek Business Park, Lot 12B, Tomart Site Plan Review and Special Use Permit, amendment to Ordinance 2000-54. With that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Grill to give us a summary.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. We'll pause for just a second as we're getting our technicalities corrected.
Okay, we are ready. Okay, thank you, Trustee Hopkins. So tonight, the petitioner is requesting a site plan review for a proposed 25,000 square foot warehouse building on the east side of Humbrock Circle. The building would be painted gray with red accents and constructed with precast concrete wall panels, and the maximum building height would be just under 35 feet. 2 curb cuts are proposed along Humbrock Circle. Trucks will enter the site from the southern curb cut, shown here, and exit the site traveling northward to the northern curb cut after they utilize the on-site scale that is located here. Passenger vehicles will utilize only the northern curb cut, so they will enter north end of the site and park in this area. Petitioner is also requesting a special use permit to allow outdoor storage of trailers on the site. The site plan currently shows 51 trailer parking stalls on the southern portion. They are also requesting to amend Ordinance 2054. This ordinance approved of the preliminary and final plat of subdivision for the entire eastern half of the Brewster Creek Business Park. They are requesting, this ordinance required a 11-foot tall berm to be installed within the 50-foot landscape easement located along the eastern property line here. And at the time when this ordinance was written, the grading plans had not been finalized, and I can show you a cross-section here that this proposed building would actually be 28 feet lower than the residential subdivision located to the east. So the requirement for a berm to be located along this eastern property line would serve no purpose and not be visible to the residents to the east. You'll notice that, let me go back here. Actually, there is a Commonwealth Edison right-of-way that is approximately 205 feet wide that provides a buffer between this site and the single-family homes to the east. And there's also an open space area located east of this Commonwealth Edison right-of-way, shown here on the map. So staff prepared a exhibit that shows the distance from the closest home to the parking for the trucks, which would be 438 feet at this southern location, and then 528 feet to the building for this home at the northeast corner, or northeast of the site. Staff concurs with the proposed amendment to eliminate the requirement for the 11-foot high berm, and the petitioner is here tonight if you have any questions.
Thank you, Roberta. Is there any questions from the committee?
I don't have any questions.
No.
Yeah.
Seems pretty
I think
straight.
it's pretty straight.
Yep, I'm good. Seems to be an appropriate use of the property.
Yeah, and with the changes, I can understand the amendment.
All right, well, we'll forward this to the Plan Commission for further review and to conduct the required public hearing then.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, no problem.
That's all we have under Building and Zoning tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Final item under Committee of the Whole this evening, Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman DEYNE.
Thank you, Mr. President. The single item we have on the agenda tonight is Elmhurst Chicago Stone, the TIF budget amendment. And that being said, I'll ask Ted to give us, Todd, I'm sorry, give us a little background. Is Todd here?
He is, he's muted.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Todd Dowden, Finance Director. I'm in the process here of sharing my screen.
There we go.
So what we're doing tonight is we're looking at an amendment to the TIF budget, the Brewster Creek TIF budget, also known as the Bartlett Quarry Redevelopment Plan, the redevelopment project costs in the Bartlett Redevelopment Plan. Elmhurst Chicago Stone, who's here, Jeff Brown is here tonight. You can answer some questions later if you have them. But the developer for the Brewster Creek Park, he's requesting that the budget be increased $3 million. This would enable them to complete the remaining undeveloped sites in Cook and DuPage counties. We're going to be looking at a parcel map later that shows the spots that still need to be improved. This would be the second budget amendment. The last one was in 2016 when bonds were issued. So if this TIF budget is increased, then it would allow us to issue another developer note not to exceed $3 million. So the budget would be, I'm going to skip ahead to our calculations. So the budget is just being increased by the Consumer Price Index. So you can see in 1999, the original budget was $30 million. Then in 2016, it was increased to $44 million. We're adding 3 more years of inflation onto it. That would bring us up to an amount of not to exceed about $48 million. That's how the calculation of the increase is being done. I'm moving on to the map here. If I can rotate it and make it a little bigger. So they still have, we have the 2016 developer note, which was not to exceed $11.5 million. There's still a little over $4.5 million left on that note. That note will be used to complete the remainder of the Spitzer Road. That's the Spitzer Road. Also, the project, finished our Project Oak McKesson building. That's lot number 1 in Cook County. Lot number 3 would also be completed with the remaining developer note, and then lot number 4 up in the north. And then the $3 million then would be for this lot number 2, which is in Cook County, along with lot number 8 in DuPage County. That's currently where their ready-mix concrete batch plant is. And lot number 12 over here, which was right next to where the site plan review we just completed at 12B, just south of that. If I can go back to one of Roberta's pictures, you can see this is the lot 2 and lot 8 where the concrete plant is right now. That's the main thing that needs to be cleaned up and moved out with the $3 million would be used for. Currently TIF bonds outstanding. We have $16,095,000 in the 2007 and the 2016 bonds still, and the 2016 developer note has a balance of just over $3 million. 2019 property taxes or increment collected in 2020 will be just under $6 million for the TIF project fund this year. So with the average of increases plus the new construction being added in Cook County, we're projecting that funds will be available to pay back the additional $3 million if it is added. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this TIF debt is not an obligation of the village. It will be paid solely from the incremental property taxes. I also want to highlight that even though we're amending the budget, we would not be extending the life of the TIF, so the TIF would still be ending in December of 2023. So that's something that we want to stress. December of 2023, the TIF will still be ending at that time. So next step, if we do move forward with amending the budget, we send notices to the taxing districts of the change of the TIF budget, and then the next we need to amend or approve a supplemental redevelopment agreement, and then approve an ordinance to issue the additional 2020 developer note in the amount of $3 million. So that is a quick overview of the TIF budget, why the developer would like to increase the budget, some of the things that need to be improved, and complete it. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take some, or I know Jeff Brown with Elmhurst Chicago Stone is on the Zoom with us. He'd be able to take your questions as well.
Thank you, Todd. I have a quick question. Could you talk about the interest rate of 7%? Who regulates that? Who picked that? Where did it come from?
This is the interest rate that we've been using on the last TIF developer note. The reason why it is higher than the regular, like when we issue bonds or something like that, is because all the risk is on the developer as far as producing the development and then making sure that the increment comes in to repay the bonds. So we are not in any way liable for paying these bonds if the increment doesn't come in from the development to pay for them. So that's why it's a little higher than normal due to the risk in this situation.
Well, as you outlined, I don't think there's much risk. So I don't know, is that something that can be amended?
It's really not something that needs to be amended. It's not really our obligation. They will borrow against the development note with the bank, and that's something taken into account. They may request with some additional disclosures that the bonds be tax exempt, but the interest rate is, because they own all the land and they're paying so that's a large portion of the real estate taxes that provide the increment. The high interest rate is appropriate. and partly because these bonds are subordinate to some of the other outstanding debt, which justifies a higher interest rate than what you would see on a mortgage.
Well, would the taxpayers save money if we just?
No, the taxpayers aren't paying any cost of this.
Yeah, this isn't a burden to our taxpayers at all.
Well,
This is an internal thing between
All out of,
an internal thing between the developers and the TIF program, and typically this is the way it's written.
right. No residents are paying it. I suppose if they own property in the Brewster Creek Business Park, but it's all paid out of the real estate taxes on the improved development, and it's paid out of the increment based on what the original base rate was versus what it is now with the improvements on it. So the only ones paying that, it turns out to be Elmhurst Chicago Stone, not any residents, not the village. So the high interest rate is not our obligation or shouldn't be our worry.
so it's not something that can be amended. That was the
No,
question.
not really. I mean, there wouldn't be a basis to do that. I mean, it could be negotiated.
It's not really in our position to
Right.
amend that. It's maybe Chicago Stone would want to amend it. It's not in our position to.
Okay.
There's no reason to do it. Because it's not a village expense or a village detriment or obligation.
Any other comments or questions? Right.
No. Okay. Let's move this forward then. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we have, Mr. President.
So the information will go on to board probably next time. There's no discussion on this. Okay. Thank you, Chairman DEYNE. That is it. I feel like we kind of cut some people off. Is there any other comments on that before we adjourn? I heard somebody, but I don't know if it was just rumbling. It's a little difficult to get clear. Please nod your heads if we can adjourn.
Yes.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by trustee DEYNE, seconded by trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro?
Yes.
DEYNE?
Yes.
Cabrera?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you guys for Zooming. See you in a couple weeks.
Okay.